I'm out here rebuilding the lava lamp. What had happened is I had shaken this lava lamp, which basically ruins them. It just turns them into a cloudy mess. I did a bunch of research on YouTube, or how we do it these days. What I found out is it's almost impossible to rebuild a lava lamp and get it how it used to be. But I used my method here, just from researching it, and what I found is this is actually really cool. It might not appear that way right now, but this thing is cool. It's like a kind of a morphing tornado, but it does function like a regular lava lamp occasionally, and but it does some really cool effects, and it actually looks really cool. So what's in there, the clear, is water. So what you do is you take your lava lamp, let it cool off completely. Hopefully the gel goes all the way to the bottom, it turns into a wax and it cools. Take that and you pop the cap on this. It's like a pop cap on this one. But yeah, you pop that off, and you pop that cap off, dump the water out carefully into the sink. It'll smell funny, but I've read that most of them are essentially water. You dump that, fill it with, I use just filtered water, and you carefully fill it up so it doesn't splash on that wax. But I actually filled it about 4 times first in the sink and rinsed the excess, just the little particulates or whatever, and the cloudiness. I rinsed that down the drain. So I basically flushed it 4 times, but I was careful not to disturb that wax. That's the important part. And after I did that, I refilled it all the way with the filtered water, and I left it about 2 inches from the top here, right about right there. And what I did is I took Epsom salts. You can get those at any drugstore, and mixed it into a cup. There's still a little bit down there at the bottom, but you mix that and probably fill this little cup halfway, and you saturate it. So you put about 6-8 tablespoons in there, stir it around, let it sit, stir it around until it dissolves as much as it's going to dissolve. And some will be on the bottom, but that won't matter. And this is Ajax. I use that as a surfactant. You can use any dish soap, I imagine. And I did use a little bit of Kids Bubbles, like 1 drop of Kids Bubbles, and probably 2 drops of this Ajax in the whole thing. I put it in this cup, and what you do is you turn it on, turn this thing on, let it heat up, and you'll just have a mass down at the bottom of jelly looking stuff, and but it won't go anywhere, it won't do anything. So you start adding the salt, water with the straw. You use everybody's picked water up with a straw. You just put your finger on the end and lift up the water and drip it down in the top, and you end up I kept putting it in, and it's kind of cool because when it falls down and in, it hits that stuff, it moves it all around. But you'll know you're making progress when the column starts to stand up. Now this takes a long time, because you have to wait about 5 minutes every time you add a straw full of the salt stuff. And if you're doing it 1 inch at a time, you only got to wait about a minute. If you're only pulling up the water 1 inch at a time, I was using suction and then plugging it off, filling the whole straw and adding it at a time. And but yeah, what'll happen is eventually the top will start crowning and pushing up of that wax, and when it comes all the way, when it starts coming up in a column, kind of like that big one right there, about halfway up, then I stopped adding the salt, added 1 drop of bubbles directly to it, tapped it up, let it run for about 5 hours, and it's been working ever since. Now it's no longer smooth, but I think that's, maybe I added too much bubbles. Really, I don't care, because it's actually doing something now, whereas before it was just ugly. So that's how I rebuild a lava lamp. We call it the happy accident, because it's different, but it's still cool.